And Joel, what was the challenge of making a film that's based on a true story? Was that a challenge for you?
I think what I was really keen to make clear is that this we're not doing Harry Hallows' story. We're not. It's not a biopic. He inspired this story. His story inspired this story, and I think that's really key to make clear. He and I think take inspiration from the way he lived and the way he chose to live and lived the way he wanted, and that's sort of what I took and then developed this sort of romance around it.
And how do you think audiences are going to receive it, particularly those from London?
I hope they embrace it. I hope they feel quite proud of it in the end, and no, I think I'm fingers crossed they embrace it. Yeah. I grew up actually in Hampstead, so I went to primary school just over on the other side of that building, a place called New End, and I was just saying this cinema used to have a bar. It's now screen number 2, but it used to have a bar in the basement, and it used to be a real hangout when I was a teenager. So it's all very personal.
It's coming of home story for you.
Yeah, I mean it's quite a responsibility because I had to juggle, this is a commercial romantic comedy and trying to find that balance between wanting to depict a place I love so much, to depict it sort of with a bit of realism, but at the same time, it's a movie that's got to play in sort of the middle of America, and so I hope I got the balance right. Brendan's a great one for keeping things real, and I think we used each other as a sort of barometer. When I got too sort of rom-commy, he would call me back, and when he got a bit too real, I'd say, come back a bit. So, it does have some, at its core, its heart, it has some sort of, important issues. I'm wary because if I was making a film about housing, I would go into much more detail. It's the backdrop to our story, and I think there's so much more to say. And so I'm wary of sort of saying, we're fighting that good cause, but it is about we dip our fingers into luxury housing and luxury flats that people are buying and not living in and things like that. And it is about home. It's about I think for me the important thing is owning a home. When your home is threatened, you don't feel very free. You have to stay there and protect it. When you have a home and you know it's yours and you're not going to lose it, it allows you to be free and go and explore the world. So I think there's, in a weird way, when your actual home is under threat, it makes you a sort of prisoner. You have to stay at home and defend it. Their characters on the surface are very, very different. Brendan lives off grid, and seemingly Diane Keaton's character lives in, Hampstead Village, a very smart part of London. But what you realise quite quickly is that they're both sort of on the peripheries of their respective sort of societies. Brendan literally was on the edge, and Diane she's an American expat living in London, doesn't really fit in with her. She's always been a bit of an oddball in her group of friends. So, they sort of come together and they realise actually they have quite a lot in common. And, working with those two, they are actually quite very different actors in terms of their approach to acting. And so that was a fun challenge, sort of taking Brendan's approach, which is quite sort of methodic and specific, marrying that with Diane, who's very sort of, what likes to sort of try, mix things up and try different things, and sort of trying to wed those two together. And I think it adds to some of the tension in their performances. But I think what I'm most pleased about is there is this chemistry between them. I think it really works.